لا 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 لا. أتعلم أنا أتعلم. إحنا في المدرسة طلاب نتعلم ويا الأصحاب، نفتح للمستقبل باب، نحيي في الوطن التجديد. إحنا في المدرسة طلاب نتعلم ويا الأصحاب، نفتح للمستقبل باب، نحيي في الوطن التجديد. أتعلم أنا أتعلم حتى أفيد وأستفيد، وأعرف لما أتكلم إنه كلامي صح ومفيد. ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا لا ليلى لا ليلى لا ليلى لا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is teacher Ibrahim Salama from Khaldun Yasmin primary section. Today inshallah we are going to start unit 12, the last unit in your book. So please get ready and open your class book on page 120, 121. As you see, the title of the unit is I Saw the Race. Today is a reading and listening lesson. The title is Formula 1. Before we start, I want you to look at the picture on page 120 and tell me what can you see. Yes, we can see a racing car. A racing car. Okay. What about the picture on page 121? What can you see here in the picture? Yes, so we can see some people, spectators, and someone who looks like a racer. Okay. Now we are going to listen to the recording, and after we finish inshallah I'm going to ask you some questions. Listen carefully.
Pupils Book, Unit 12, page 120. I Saw the Race. Reading. Formula 1.
The racing cars were at the start line. With their engines running, I thought that they sounded like angry bees. My brother, Richard, leaned forward over the rail and stared down at them with fascination.
"Look for a blue car with 81 on the side," said Uncle Pete. "The driver is Frank Turner, the national champion."
"Fantastic!" exclaimed Richard. "This is amazing, isn't it, Russ? These cars go at 220 kilometers per hour. I sighed and turned away. The sun was hot and I was getting a headache. I said, "I think I'll go and sit in the shade." Nobody answered. I don't think anyone heard. I left the viewing box and walked down the stairs. At the bottom, a quiet and dim passage led along the back of the grandstand. At the end of it, there was a door. I didn't want to go outside. I was wondering where I could go next when I saw a bench against the wall near the door. I sat down and rested my head against the cool wall. Just then, the door beside me burst open. There was a sudden beam of light as a man stepped through, and then the door swung shut. The man sat down on the bench. He didn't see me at all. He was holding a mobile phone. He looked closely at it, as if he expected it to do something. Then he groaned quietly. I shuffled my feet. The man looked round quickly.
"Oh, I didn't know anyone was here,"
he said. "Sorry," I said.
"It's okay,"
said the man.
"I've got to go in a minute. I was just hoping... My son, Todd."
He looked at me and smiled.
"Are you going to watch the race?"
he asked. I suppose so, I replied.
You don't sound very pleased about it,
said the man. The door opened again. A voice called,
Frank?
The man said,
Okay, I'm coming.
He picked up his helmet and gloves from the bench beside him. Cheerio, he said, and walked quickly outside. I thought I should go back upstairs. I stood up. Then I heard a phone ring. I looked back at the bench. The man's mobile phone was lying there, and it was ringing. I picked it up and opened the door. The man had gone. I looked at the screen. Todd calling, it said. I hesitated for a second, then answered. Dad? Said a voice. No, he's gone, I said. Oh. The voice sounded disappointed. Mum and I are nearly at the track. The traffic's terrible. But who are you anyway? I'm Russ, I answered. I'm at the racetrack with my uncle and my brother. I was just talking to your dad. He left his phone, so I answered it. Are you watching the race? Well, yes, I suppose so. It must be ready to start, I told him. Can you help me? Asked Todd quickly. Will you stay on the phone and tell me what's happening? Well, I hesitated. Please. Todd's voice sounded desperate. I decided. Okay, I will, I said. I hurried back up the stairs. I reached the viewing box just as the checkered flag went down and the cars surged forward. They've started, I gasped into the phone. Richard looked at me. Who are you talking to? He asked. He didn't wait for an answer, but turned back to watch the cars roaring past. Russ isn't interested, he told Uncle Pete. He's chatting to a friend. I told Todd everything that was happening in the race. It was nearly over when the door of the box opened and a boy hurried in. Todd was just in time to see his father pass the finish line first. He cheered and Richard screamed, "Brilliant!" Yes, he is, isn't he? Said Todd. Who are you? Asked Richard. I'm Todd Turner, said Todd. Richard stared at him in surprise. When Frank Turner came into the box a few minutes later, Richard looked astonished. He hugged Todd and said, I'm sorry you missed most of the race. I didn't miss it, said Todd. Russ told me what was happening on your phone. He's a really good commentator. It was just like being here. My phone, said Frank. I wondered where I had left it. Thanks, Russ. He shook my hand warmly. Richard glared at me. I thought you weren't interested in racing, he whispered crossly. It was more interesting than I expected, I said with a smile.
Okay, let's start our questions. My first question: how did the engines of the cars sound like? Okay, they sounded like angry bees. Again, my students, if you need more time to answer the questions, please pause the video after I ask the question, try to find the answer, and then continue the video to check your answer if it is correct or not. Second question: who were with Russ at the race? Yes, his brother Richard and Uncle Pete. Question number 3: how fast do the cars go? The cars in the race, how fast do they go? Yes, They go at 220 kilometers per hour. Next question. What's wrong with Russ? Is he okay? Exactly, yes. He was getting a headache. He was getting a headache. Next question. Where did he go? And why? Yes, yes, exactly. He went to a quiet and dim passage because he wanted to sit in the shade. Okay, who did he met? I'm talking about Russ. Who did he met? He met Frank. Frank is a racer. Okay. Todd, who is Frank's son, was coming to the race, but he was late. How did Russ help him? How did Russ help Todd? Exactly, excellent. Todd's father forgot his phone on the bench. Todd took it and answered the call. Then he told his son Todd what was happening in the race. Okay, last question. Who won the race? Exactly. Frank won the race. Now let's move to workbook to answer the questions there. So please get ready and open your workbook on page 112. Okay, first exercise. Study skills. There are mistakes in these sentences. Write the sentences correctly. Remember, V means the mistake is in verb. SP means spelling. WO means word order. A means article. Number 1. My cousins have been to the America 2 years ago. Again, my cousins have been to the America 2 years ago. If you need more time, pause the video, try to write your answer, then come back to check. You have 2 mistakes here, verb and article. So, the correct sentence is, my cousins went to America 2 years ago. Number 2. Why Ola has cutted her hair. Also, you have 2 mistakes, word order and verb. The correct answer is, why has Ola cut her hair? Number 3. Listen, the babies cry. You have a mistake in spelling and in the verb. The correct answer is, listen, the babies are crying. Number 4. Dad is driving to work today. He is usually going by bus. Here also you have spelling and verb mistakes. The correct answer is, Dad is driving to work today. He usually goes by bus. Number 5. Never Omar has ridden a horse before. You have a mistake in word order and in spelling. The correct sentence is, Omar has never ridden a horse before. Number 6. You have 4 mistakes. Verb, article, again verb and spelling. Grandma likes flowers and flowers in her garden is beautiful. So, grandma likes flowers and flowers in her garden are beautiful. Next, find the correct definitions of the underlined words in the box below. Write the numbers. You have definitions here: pen, as a noun, and pen again as a noun. Sign as a noun, sign as a verb. Stamp as a noun, stamp as a verb. Top as a noun, and again top as a noun, but in a different meaning. Number 1, put the top back on the bottle. Here the word top means a lid or a cover. So the answer is 8. Number 2, the climbers reached the top of the mountain. Here the word top means the summit, the highest point. So the answer is 7. Number C, don't stamp on the spider. Here the word stamp means to put your foot down hard on something. So the answer is 6. D, don't forget to put a stamp on the letter. Here the word stamp means a small piece of paper which you stick on a letter to pay for posting it. So the answer is 5. E, the farmer put all the sheep in a pen. Here the word pen means a small area with a fence around it for keeping animals in. So our answer is 2. F, you must use a pen in your exams. So the word pen here means you use this for writing. It has ink inside. So our answer is 1. G, you have forgotten to sign your letter. The word sign here means to write your name. So our answer is 4. Last one, H. There was a sign on the gate which said keep out. The word sign here means a notice which tells you something. So the answer is 3. Next exercise. Read Formula 1 again. You have to pause the video here, go back to your pupils book, try to read the text, and then come back to continue the workbook. Exercise number 2. Who said it? Write the name. You have 10 sentences and you have to write who said the sentence. Russ, Richard, Todd, Uncle Pete, and Frank Turner. Number 1. The driver is Frank Turner, the national champion. Again, pause the video, go back to your class book or pupils book and try to find the answer. Number 1, the answer is Uncle Pete. Number 2, these cars go at 220 kilometers an hour. Who said that? Exactly, Richard. I think I'll go and sit in the shade. Ross said that. You don't sound very pleased. Frank Turner said that. Mom and I are nearly at the track. Excellent. Todd said this. Are you watching the race? Again, Todd said that. They have started. Yes, Ross. Who are you? Again, Todd. It was just like being here. Exactly, Todd. I wondered where I had left it. He's talking about his mobile phone, so Frank Turner said that. Glare, hesitate, sigh, groan, expect, and cheer. Number 1. Everyone, space, when the winning car passed the finishing line. And the correct sentence is everyone cheered when the winning car passed the finishing line. Number 2. The water in the pool looked cold, and Ben, space, before he dived in. Of course, Ben hesitated. Next, Layla space at the colorful flowers with fascination. Layla stared at the colorful flowers. Number 4, Harry space the book to be boring and he was surprised because it wasn't. So Harry expected. Number 5, Faisal took Khalid's pen without asking and Faisal, yes, glared at him. The story had a good ending and Lucy sighed happily when she finished it. Last sentence. When Ziad broke his arm, he groaned because of the pain. This concludes our video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and see you inshallah in the next video.